fallen, not truly. Only that one exception, of course, earlier this year.
Had a couple of glimpses of a leaning tower of Nouns, but just like the leaning tower of Pisa, stable as can be, at least hopefully, to the tremors of Gen 5 as we head into the game 1 of our Grand Finals series. Nouns Esports on our first pick side. Again, access to that Zera Aura if Gen 5 does not decide to ban that out. Double Speedsters, Umbreon, Hoopa are going to be up on the bench.
Wild that they've gone Talonflame over Zera Aura, especially on the basis of what we've seen today. And there it is. Toon Slim Zera Aura, first pick. It was never in doubt. I look at Gen 5 now. I'm asking, what are you going to do to lock this thing down? Well, you got Suicune. You've got Suzuro on the Blissey. Now, will we see that Blissey supporting an ADC? Or is this truly going to be more of a healing Blissey? We wait we wait with bated breath, Draku, really.
They're going to pull out the 10th pick Cinderace once again, possibly. Get more damage penetration Pokemon out on the battlefield. Suicune, in my opinion, I think you were reflecting on this a little bit earlier in the broadcast. It hasn't had maybe the impact that I was expected, but 3 Pokemon that have been banned very frequently in the ACL and also in today's event, Suicune, Blissey, and Psyduck on the side of Gen 5. This is a monster of a draft so far.
Oh, Gatlu Blaziken, Gatlu Mimikyu, Gatlu, what are you gonna pick, my dude? Gatlu Buzzwole, I love that into the Metagross. We're still not decided. Okay, going for that hyperscaling threat in the end to join the Inteleon late game. Now, Gen 5, looking at this composition, that Blissey surely has to be a healer. Sure, I mean, maybe there's some synergy to be had with this Metagross. Snow on a bit of an ace pick here, though. With the Serena, with some shielding, with the ability to lock down that Zera Aura, not a bad look. A strange composition, but one that I think could find success.
Tempo a little late game for both teams as Serena needs to get to level 6 and get access to those primary abilities at level 7. Metagross needs to get to level 9. Suicune, though, doesn't need an evolution. Same thing for the Psyduck. I think, especially in the early game, expect the dominance to be on the side of Nouns Esports. Really strong with Snorlax. Again, tackle, last hitting ability just really strong. Adesu, Sobble, and Drizzile at level 5. Really good at last hitting wild Pokemon with the critical hitting auto attacks and also with the water gun as well. Could we potentially see an invade from Nouns Esports? We've seen that time and time again from Bruv. Could possibly see that here once again.
Well, the green lush fields and the mighty ruins await for Nouns Esports and Gen 5. For what is that now? The 6th, 7th time this year? It's been a long road for sure, and yet somehow we keep on ending up in the same place. For Nouns, 2 game wins away from yet another victory to add to the cabinet. Gen 5, 2 wins away from resetting the bracket and needing to do it all over again. Nouns your purple side, Gen 5 your orange. To Thea Sky Ruins we go for our grand finals.
It has been a long winter, Relic, but I think the flowers are starting to bloom quite literally on Thea Sky Ruins. Of course, there's no seasonal change on Thea Sky Ruins as we know so far, but let's head down to the bottom path where Bruv, using that really nice Hollowware, newest for Snorlax, head to the top path. It is going to be that Comfey and the Zera Aura. This is a pair that is very scary once they have Discharge and potentially Sweet Kiss available to them.
Look at that healing already early game. It's pretty effectual. Toon Slim going after this second bundle beast. Suzuro going to try and steal it away, and they do successfully. Very nicely handled on this bottom path. One player we failed to mention, Draku Bruv on the Snorlax. Not in my nightmares.
Yeah, that is a pairing that is nightmare fuel, quite literally. If it's not the Mr. Mime for Bruv, it is definitely the Snorlax, one of the best Snorlax players in the European region.
First set of clouds on the way. We've got Megu rotated up to top path. Weird to see Megu going central area, isn't it? Evo onto the Drizzile on bottom path. And meanwhile, Megu does enough to dispel the threat for the moment. You got Snow eating a bit of damage as well, but no harm, no foul. 0-0 on the board. 90 seconds in.
These are getting an early lead in the bottom path, actually just in line with the Suicune in the bottom path. Again, a pretty slow start to the game. They do need quite a bit of levels to get their second and third tier evolution. Blissey has hats now on the head, maybe trying to make a magician's move here of the Zero Aura. It's going to be very difficult, though, with that Comfey supporting them with that healing ability. This Metagross, though, could do some work here in the early game, but the support from Adesu here for the knockout.
Yeah, the worst thing there as well, so Zero commits and he probably gets the KO on the Zero Aura and the pop to level 5. Gatlu, though, popping on to level 7. The Evo to Blaziken secured. We got that Whirlpool attempt to do damage. Eject button overheat. Name a more iconic duo.
Oh, take a heel to the throat, little duck. They sent back to the bathtub as they're running down to the bottom path. Teams start to split up here in the central area. Some to the top path, some down to the bottom path. Bruv here to help defend this tier 1 goal zone. Might just be a little bit too late though. Oh, was that a grass knot? No, that was a little Vine Whip to stop the score.
Oh, that's nasty work. And still 0-0. That's a soccer score. That's a football score. My apologies, Europeans. I forget that I am in my home territory. 3 minutes in. First set of Reggies on the way. And to be fair, the fact that Nouns haven't scored is probably the biggest W that Gen 5 can claim. Level lead most certainly with Nouns. Numbers game in their favor on this Registeel. Utah will look for the save, but there is no save to be found. Registeel to Nouns Esports.
Yeah, incredible rip and incredible secure on the side of Nouns Esports. That discharge doing so much damage and that auto attack pressure from the Inteleon. Really good secure. Always got to be very careful around these objectives. As Gen 5 pivoting up to the top path, really prioritizing that Regieleki, getting these scores in. Nouns Esports breaking that bottom path, scoring 5 points on the tier 2 goal zones. Pretty conventional strategy for either team. Both teams just prioritizing either side of the field.
This is the holiday season come early for Snow, by the way, running the attack weight stacks. They've gotten max stacks and the T1 break, and Gen 5 have been able to take the lead off Nouns after taking down the T1 on bottom path. Short-term loss, long-term investment for Gen 5 pays off handsomely.
We gotta be very careful here. The water type damage, again, typing doesn't matter here, but effective nonetheless. It takes 3 members to take down Gatlu, but Gatlu gotta walk the distance to the tier 2 goal zone because maybe they didn't get all of their own attack weight stacks online. Well, this is a very, very close game of Pokemon Unite as we head to the halfway point of the game. 8 points separates these two teams. As we take a look at the levels, lots of level 9s, 1 level 8 on the side of Gen 5, and Nouns Esports with a sliver of a level lead, most likely getting that Southern Regispawn, giving them that global EXP.
It's how far ahead they were on level 10 already, though, that makes the difference, and we can see that case in point. Toon Slim level 11 on that Zero Aura. Next set of Reggies on the way, and Gen 5 is certainly angling for this bottom path Reggie as opposed to the Regieleki first time around. Freeze and Whirlpool locked in place, Brub with Vision. Certainly having Vision now. Megu pops the X speed to get away. Are they running Magnet Rise on this? Or are they running Zen Headbutt? It is Zen Headbutt, and they tried to catch out Toon Slim, not quite this time.
Gen 5 has no tier 1 goal zones to retreat to. They do have the Blissey to help with the heals here as the snipe shots come raining in. Again, gotta be very careful now. Esports really strong secure with all of their abilities. All the night moves. First team fight engagement coming in. Blissful assistance from the Kanto region. There is the Ice Shards coming down on the battlefield as well. We lose 1 member for Gen 5. Here comes the secure for the Regirock and the discharge. KO streak of 2, but it looks like Gen 5 able to hold it to their field.
Very scary moment there as Gen 5 simply couldn't find a KO for Toffee. Not a single one. Grub with the block at an opportune moment, but thankfully Gen 5 stick it out and they manage to win the coin flip on bottom path. Reggie with the discharge not able to tick it over at the crucial moment. So Gen 5, a big win in their column. Still haven't taken the level lead overall, but with that Suicune now on 12, it's parity.
Was it a coin flip? Did they select the right hand? We will never know. As we head to the top path, once again, Gen 5 really solid positioning this time with their tier 1 goal zone to retreat to. There is that jump pad, and this is probably the last team fight engagement to take this one down, and Toon is going to blow them away. The flowery field, more like a gravery of field, as Toon gets a KO streak of 2.
They're going to be able to take this Regieleki. Oh, no, they're not. The health bar goes back up, chasing after it, but doing enough consistent damage to ultimately claim that KO that they desired. Here goes Toon in with a Volt Switch. No, never mind. The Queen Ascendant locks them down. Another Computer Crush. 3 KOs in the space of this seconds for Gen 5. Yeah, this Regieleki ain't going nowhere. Bruv, meanwhile, exits stage left.
Gotta grab a citrus berry. They do get additional healing from that berry as they retreat back through the jump pad there. They're gonna pivot down to the bottom path. It is going to give them a lead with a really, really favorable overcap. I believe that was a 35-point overcap. Now Gen 5 is looking in prime position. As we take a look at the levels here, 30 seconds before the rendezvous at 2. 2 level 13s, exactly where you want them to be. Another level 13, that Inteleon, now doing a little bit more damage with all of their abilities, hitting that power spike at level 13, but a Pokemon I am going to be watching is the Serena.
Oh, no, the Sai popped in pure desperation. The block and then the Blaze kick. Nouns Esports almost catch Captain Yutao out. And that surely would have been the end. Coin flip for the Regice. Will it even go down? Overheat, they do take it. Nouns Esports have it. And Gen 5 have to launch the assault now. Plasma Gale and Yutao falls eventually. Finally, Nouns Esports' greatest wish. It's their desire. Theirs for the taking. A second KO. Looking for the third, but Toonslip finally falls themselves. India will find a new home. They're going to find the Bliss Assistance. Metagross are going to work. Queen Ascendant, Gatlu, 2 KO streak for Suzuro on this Blissey. Heavy block. Oh, sorry, heavy slam into the block, rather. Snow after Adesu. Power nap. Adesu finally falls themselves. Oh, it's absolute pandemonium out there. But Gen 5 are looking to rip the Ray.
Oh, Rayquaza, they do not have the best rip on the Rayquaza. It is just the Metagross and the Psyduck here. Do they have the best form of security, though?
Secure
between the two teams. 20-1, and there's going to be 2 on the Zeraora.
You can't count him out. He beats the clock every single time. Hundo Burger served fresh from this Electro Cat, and Gen 5 sent reeling as the Flower Crown finds another.
The grill is mighty hot here as they continue to put the patties into these goal zones. 459 to 220 as they continue their onslaught here on the right side of the field. Level 15s by Nouns Esports, and they can smell the blood in the water. The Sharks are here to play, and Nouns Esports 1 game away from winning yet another Grand Final series.
Can you outsmart me, Nouns Esports says? Yeah, maybe. But I've yet to meet one Team Draku today that can outsmart a Zeraora with discharge. 1 game away from yet another cup victory in Season 4 of the Unite Championship Series.
Ban this Pokemon. It is quite literally blowing everybody away and absorbing wins time and time again. Zeraora is this flavor of the week. Gengar 2 weeks ago. Talonflame and friends a little bit before that as well. This is the speedster meta, and we are seeing it in full display today.
You just knew what was coming. When Toon Slim hit the ground from the super jump pad, with the lack of ripability that Gen 5 had, I know that's going to be a controversial call for their fans. If they didn't have the ability to rip properly, why did they try and rip properly? But they were, and I'm not kidding folks, half a second, 1 second away from securing it, and we talk about Gen 5 most likely going ahead and winning this first game. Nouns keep clutching. They can't be stopped.
As we look at these post-game summary numbers, 6 digits.
Take notes, people. I mean, look, we're not running back Talonflame Absol. Surely, Gen 5. I mean, look, to be fair, actually, they don't have to ban Zeraora this time around. They have selected first pick, mercifully. Nouns Esports, it's over to you.
Blissey, really solid ban. I'm going to round out the bans for Gen 5. We'll see what Toon Slim decides to ban here as their final ban of the team. Again, they do not have to ban, or they should be banning Zeraora here, but they're going to go ahead and ban out Psyduck. I think if there's one thing that the teams have not figured out yet is how to play against Zeraora. Because clearly they are letting it through every draft, or there are things that, you know, they might be a little more afraid of. And they're going for Suicune.
What are we doing?
what
are we doing? If Nouns don't select... Draco, I'm speechless. It's difficult to shut me up sometimes. I'm speechless.
You got some food in front of you. That might help with that.
I'm not hungry anymore. I'm not hungry. I've been put off.
I'm gonna round out. We're gonna start their offensive core. Utah pulling out the Absol. Let's see what Nouns Esports decides to do here with their latter half of the draft. They can really go anywhere, right? They got some of the best Pokemon in the game. Snorlax still making their way through late in the draft. They have, in my opinion, the best attacker in the game, Inteleon. Okay, what are we doing? Okay.
Are we memeing out here? Is this reality? Is this what we're really going to be doing here? Potential Meowscarada appearance for the first time. I actually, bringing it back to a modicum of seriousness, I do really like Snow on the Meowscarada. I think that this is a comfort pick, an ace pick for them. I hope to see them do well on it. Metagross running back for Megu. And now we look to Nouns. Now we look to Inda. Lots of options for him, to be fair. Rotating through some interesting ones. We saw a Wigglytuff at ACL. Didn't do so hot. And we're still not going to see it today. Instead, we go for the Mammothite.
Okay. So actual defenders on the side of Nouns Esports, and kind of a defender that's a little bit fluid in its categorization. I'm looking at this Suicune specifically. I know Kello was talking about how this Pokemon specifically is categorically fluid. I like to say that word. It is categorized with that purple background as an all-rounder, special attack all-rounder, very rare in that categorization specifically, but it can be a more supportive all-rounder in its ability to hold space, right? You also are amplifying your support by grabbing that cursed incense. It prevents the enemy team from maybe healing on their goal zones as well, or if they have any passive healing in their secondary abilities, right? This Suicune is going to be the quote-unquote defender of the team. I think this Metagross can also kind of flex to that very bulky frontline role as well, but is it going to be enough of an impact to hold that front line when the enemy team has actual defenders?
I don't like that Gen 5 look overall. When I look at the individuals, just like Lunder on Suicune, okay, I like that. Utah and Absol, okay, I like that. Snow and Meowscarada, sure. It's how all of the pieces fit together, and it feels like we've got 5 different pieces from 5 different jigsaws. Like, maybe they'll make a picture. but maybe they won't, Draco, and that's what I'm leaning towards. It's game 2. I'm happy to be proven wrong. Nouns Esports, though, 1 away from the victory overall.
Grand Finals, again, Gen 5, they need to run the gauntlet to reset the bracket, win another set to win them the Grand Finals. They have swept Nouns Esports before to reset the bracket, but they got to win the next 2 games, and that last game wasn't exactly very close.
Certainly Gen 5. Early stonks would be good in the form of KOs, but the K opener will go over to Toon Slim with no access to discharge, just looking at that slash. And got Inda here for cover 2, secures that final bunny. On bottom path, we check in and see the Swinub and this little Sobble getting crowded with Snow rotating to the bottom path, but they're not looking to encroach further onto the territory. They don't want to overstep their welcome.
Yeah. Indy rotating through the bottom path, grabbing those Salic berries to increase their speed. Bunny's coming through the path, and lots of members for both teams in this bottom path. Lots of ice on the battlefield as we do get an evolution to their stage 2 as Adesu pushes on forward the rest of Nouns Esports.
Lovely rotate, counter to the usual. 4 players on bottom and plenty of scores, and an Evo onto the Pylo Swine. Very different beginning to this game compared to game 1, Draco. Of course, it was 0-0 for a full 3 minutes, and Toon won't let Megu sleep. They won't let Megu score, and Inder called to the rescue to further deny and frustrate this Gen 5 squad.
Yeah, 70 points already in this early game. They have really leaned into this bottom path. And was that a submission Machamp I saw there, Relic? You know, submission Machamp, a lot of times we see it with an EXP share, not this time, a couple of other EXP share holding Pokemon, but very similar to Mamoswine. It's a kind of a hard ability to hit, but if you aren't able to land it on one of these speedsters, you quite literally put them in a little tornado, in a blender. It is a very good source of crowd control for these speedsters.
Draco, by this point, the amount of times is that a submission Machamp has been uttered this season on UCS in both NA and EU, I think by this point we've just got to accept if it is Machamp, it's going to be submission. It's going to be there for the setups in combination with Ice Fang, big, yucky, Toon Slim, and Adesu on that Inteleon especially are going to be living a good life. 4-81, 2.5 minutes in, and Megu is getting shredded by the discharge. But there's the flower trick. There's that Meowscarada finally coming online, looking for a 30 score, or a 29, or the 17 even from Zazuro. They've done 29. Here's another 7. Megu still can't get a score down at last. A bit of joy. No, never mind. The bunny, the secret agent bunny. What on earth, dude? Megu finally with the Evo onto Metagross. That's gotta feel good.
Easter is coming right around the corner, and they're trying to get their eggs right at that moment right there, Relic. As first objective in the bottom path, going over to Nouns Esports, that Reggie Rock, giving them some more global EXP, global eggs, if you ask me. 89-111. This is looking a lot better for Gen 5. Their Metagross online for relatively early, getting 4 arms or 4 legs at the 630 mark.
Yeah, despite the nonsense, Nouns Esports still leads, but level-wise, Gen 5 a much better look at this stage, comparative to this similar position in game number 4. We see there in the picture-in-picture, Adesu taking down the Regieleki, now looking for the yellow dots to further try and balloon up towards that level 10. Toon Slim roaming, Megu with the Magnet Rise, and so they've actually switched their itemization here. Maybe they still hold the X speed, but I'd imagine it's more looking towards the eject button or X attack with Magnet Rise able to give them that maneuverability, Draco.
Teams insulating their relative tier 1 goal zones. Gen 5 kind of hovering the top path, making a wide net in that top lanes. Same thing for Nouns Esports. They are pushing on forward. Gatlu getting some vision. You can see on the minimap left side of your screen. Indy is going to grab a Pollen Puff. Not to heal, just a tad bit of damage, but more importantly, some vision, more so for Gen 5. Halfway through the game, both teams are playing a little chess match right now. Maybe a little bit of auto chess early on before it is actually released, but still a very close game in Unite terms here. There is a 4 appendage Metagross, and now a 4 appendaged Machamp on the field as well. Both teams just pushing on forward as best as they can, not really pushing forward too far to maybe take some gambles they don't want to do.
That's a lot of arms, but who's going to flex the best? Just so we're all on the same page, full heal for this Megu, of which no need to use it there. The Ice Fang will be harmless in the end. Nouns not with a full rotate. Toon Slim still top path, potentially going after that Regieleki. Whirlpool down onto the Reggie Rock, and Adesu snipes ya. The Midnight Slash doesn't find a KO. Gen 5 struggling. Another, oh, never mind. Flower Trick does the trick. Turns on the Reggie Rock, and secures it with Megu. Okay, now into the Floral Flourish, finding another KO onto Inder, really starting to tumble for Nouns Esports, who are forced to abandon their station, still finds a KO onto that Cotton Puff. The T1 taken down though, and Gen 5 will be happy with that. Draco a lead by roughly 100 points.
I think there might be a sniper in the trees, and that is Adesu, one of the first snipers to do it. I knew Adesu as one of the most proficient Decidueye players. Unfortunately, we just don't see that Archer Owl very much anymore. More like a sniper in the wings of Thea's Sky Ruins. But first win for Gen 5, but one thing to pay attention to, no Toon Slim in the bottom path. Now it's going to be a 5-on-5 engagement, and we've been talking all day long. This Pokemon, it's not in a team fight. Maybe you can win. When it is, better watch out.
Really quick rip, and there's a gyro ball and the ice fang, but never mind, there's the midnight slash combined with the ice beam. Finally, this Suicune providing some action on our screens that looks convincing. In the back line, big poke and prod from you, Tao. Toon Slim, though, especially with that Psycho Cut, has to watch himself. Gen 5, let the Regieleki hit zone. Not that Nouns can capitalize on it, but hey, there's 3 minutes left.
I mean, they might be. They are taking a wide arc through where the Regieleki appears. They're making a mad dash for the Tier 1 gold zones, and they get that one in. They are going to put Toon Slim in a blender, but they are going to put the reverse Uno card. Toon Slim does end up going down. Now an even closer game, Relic, 207 to 209, 30 seconds before the final stretch.
Did they int? Absolutely. Did they take the lead? Also absolutely. And ultimately, when it comes to that clock hitting 0, that's the most important thing. Surrounding this Reg Ice. Gen 5 going to work. Psycho Cut. Coin shoot. Coin flip, rather. You know what I mean. You know what Gen 5 means, though. Business. They got their suits on. They found 2 KOs. Not huge respawn times for Nouns Esports. They'll be back on Thea Sky Ruins relatively quick. No Barrage Blow, no Mammoth Mash, at least imminently. Gen 5 have the advantage. They just don't have the points lead.
It is a very slim points lead for Nouns Esports. Probe in the pile-up, able to find a really nice Ice Fang. Retreats through the central area, the mashup point there. As we head into the final stretch, a really solid positioning here for Gen 5.
Nervous, really nervous. Gen 5 have already paid for the mistake of going for the rip. They're not going to do it again, but they will know 100% once that counter hits, once it hits 1 minute, that they're going to have to do something special. Ice Fang, Megu picks up shielding from Inda. Meanwhile, poking and prodding from the back line, Adesu continuing to harass, and Gen 5 are going for the rip. Midnight Slash! Toon Slim again!
He is a different beast, a mythical creature, once again taking the Rayquaza, capturing potentially the win condition for the Grand Finals. Nouns Esports is 1 minute away from winning another Grand Finals series.
It feels like a run back to Season 3. I remember a time when Nouns Esports would go for the rip themselves, and they would constantly be shown the front door. Turn around, son. We got this Green Dragon down on lock. This time around, Gen 5 twice they've gone for it, and both times it's been the Zero Aura that they have failed to either pick or ban. 30 seconds left. Hundo Burger from Gatlu. Not the most explosive game on this Machamp, but that's 100 more points. Gen 5 last chance saloon here, Draku.
20 seconds remaining potentially here for Gen 5, and a very steep mountain to do so. Mammoth Mash on the Tier 2 gold zone to defend it as best as they can. Megu the first to fall. Snow trying to do their best to stay alive as desperately as they can, and as the time ticks away, I feel like that is as poetic as can be. Adesu, final KO of the March Cup, and Nouns Esports is your winner of the Unite Championship Series this month.
North America, you can't ignore this. Zero Aura on top of this meta. Toon Slim on top of EU. Nouns Esports on top of EU. Draku, it won't be the perfect season thanks to that Gen 5 victory a couple of months ago. But they are now on the precipice of winning almost, bar one, every event in Season 4 in region. Outstanding consistency.
The best we've seen Nouns Esports this season? I think so. I think Ender has definitely found their place on the team. They have, like you said, they have found their rhythm. They have clicked together. And of course, Toon, team captain holding them all together, kind of quite literally putting their team on their back, stealing the Rayquaza in game number 1.